Denver Broncos Mile High View, no commercials, no bullshit. The number one hated Broncos channel on the internet. Also, the only bootleg Broncos channel, but never bootlick. It's better to be a bootleg than a bootlick. And that was a contribution from one of our annoying commenters, Wavy Kids. So, here we are. Looking back at the vids, I was getting a little disappointed that our lock conspiracy was getting too many thumbs up. I was getting a little concerned there. We weren't getting enough thumbs down, but it's catching back up. So I was really glad to see that. We're still pissing them off. So here's the rundown on today's show. And this is going to be really popular with the we're just one quarterback away crowd. We're going to talk about the pathetic state of the Broncos franchise. We also want to talk, was Wade Phillips ahead of his time in 2015? And it seems like the Elway's not meddling narrative is collapsing. You did an interview with the Minnesota Viking fans. We talked about the new GM, talked about how the Broncos handled Keenum. And I just was going to put in I got feedback from other fans of other teams about this channel. I also want to talk about Von Miller and the state of the D-line. Anything you would like to contribute, Colby? Also, excuse me, I would also want to quickly talk about the last two videos that we did. And were the only Denver Broncos media channel to get the ownership call correct when everybody said how stupid we were that Brittany Bolin was not going to become the owner of the Denver Broncos. So which topic do you want to hit first?
Go ahead. Pick.
Okay, well, let's see, because I kind of had this. Let's start with this, the Elway not meddling narrative collapsing. Mark Schlereth, you just gave me sent me a link. Mark Schlereth is saying what we've been saying all along, essentially that. Well, you sent me a bunch of links, and what we've been saying all along, and it's the narrative is starting to break down, where Elway can't get away from the fact that he's meddling. You want to talk about that for a minute?
So I want to yes. So with the whole Elway is not meddling, I do think that the narrative is starting to collapse. I think that when coming into this off season, me and you were both the first to get ahead of it, like we always are with this.
Yep.
That saying that he's putting onion layers in front of him so that he doesn't have to get the blame for the things that are going to be happening to this franchise. I like how a lot of people in the Denver Broncos media, paid sports talk radio, likes to sit there and say, "This is George Payton's team. No shortcuts. New regime."
That was the narrative from Dove Valley. That was the Dove Valley narrative.
Yes, that was the Dove Valley narrative. And when it comes to these moves this offseason, we clearly saw that there was a disconnect again in the Denver Broncos organization that has been happening since Pat Bowlen's been gone. We saw money being spent at positions that, quite frankly, shouldn't have been spent with the money that they're allocating towards, like paying Justin Simmons top safety money, the highest paid safety in the NFL, paying Shelby Harris a bunch of money, going after Ronald Darby, paying him $10 million a year.
Whoa! Time out. You got to back that up a little bit. Not going after Darby the year before, a la what I was saying. Go after him the year before and then sign him. So getting Darby too late instead of, again, we talk about bringing up-and-comers in. No, you wanted to get that other yo-yo from the Jacksonville. I think it was he was from Jacksonville. No, he's from the was he Jacksonville?
AJ Boye, they traded for him last year.
Well, that was Jacksonville, right? One of their cast-offs. Yeah. So you instead of analyzing and taking a look and finding the best, you went after Boye, which was a big, huge mistake. As we said, we didn't want him. So so let's put it into context from our channel, our point of view.
Okay, yeah. Sorry, I didn't put it into context. The context was that what I meant by that is that instead of paying $10 million to a Ronald Darby this year, you could have got him for a 1-year veteran minimum deal the year before this. So yes, I should have did that. But when it comes to other positions, going after trading for Teddy Bridgewater, which I was one of the first people out there saying that this is a guy we were going to trade for. You're allocating a lot of money to that, with high $1 million going allocated towards Teddy Bridgewater. Are we all shocked here? Another quarterback to bury.
Time out. Instead of putting that money where? Perhaps the offensive line, like you talked about, not getting a Massey, not getting him, doing more what Kansas City did.
Yes. Going after solid offensive line players, going after defensive line players that can make a difference on both sides of the line of scrimmage. Going after coverage linebackers like a Jayon Brown and Anthony Walker from the Colts, stuff like that. When I was going into this offseason, and this will relate to the Elway thing. I had a completely different mindset on the players that I wanted to go after. We had a completely different mindset on the players that we wanted for this franchise, unlike the John Elway guy. And you were the first person out there, mind you, saying that we are going to be hard on the edges and soft in the middle. And I think that's going to show up greatly this year, because what do we have in the middle of the field? Okay. Mike Purcell is a solid piece in the middle of the field. I like Mike Purcell. I said once that guy went down, this running game was going to suffer, and look what happened. It suffered. Alexander Johnson and Josie Jewell are C- D+ linebackers. On a good day, they can be a C+ B- on a good day. But that
depends on who they're playing.
Yes, it depends on who they're playing. They're very inconsistent players. So you don't have a Solomon Thomas. You don't have a Sheldon Rankins. You don't have a Jordan Phillips that you've continually brought up his name in the channel. You didn't go after and get a Rashawn Slater to pair with a Garrett Bowles who looks like he's figured it out finally after 3-4 years of being babied. You don't have continuity on both sides of the line of scrimmage to help this team succeed, and that is a direct correlation from John Elway.
Yeah, it hasn't changed. That's been the MO since he got in. Even when Peyton Manning, towards the end, we got one thing that Josh McDaniels did do correctly here was bring in some offensive line help that this team desperately needed, and that translated from the Orton Tebow era into the. But then that started to degrade and go down because, again, look at the player personnel that's in charge.
And we could talk player personnel, and I've actually been starting to gear towards this side of the spectrum more than the player personnel side of the spectrum. When you have a guy in John Elway who basically is running this team, and you have no accountability from the top down, I believe that's going to suffer more in an organization than player personnel acquisitions. The reason I say that is because you do not have continuity, and you're not giving the coaches the how can I say it? You don't give the coaches the freedom like Vic Fangio had in Chicago to get the players that he wants to build this defense. You didn't keep a Rich Scangarello. You didn't keep a Rich Scangarello, who I believe is an up-and-coming offensive coordinator. People can hate me for that. Everybody can say I'm an idiot for that. But I believe that the offensive scheme that Kyle Shanahan runs is being correlated around the NFL, from the Packers, from the Titans, from the Falcons now. You have all these teams around the National Football League who are running a Kyle Shanahan West Coast zone run system. And I was thinking about this last night. When we were running that with Drew Lock and all that was the offensive identity. Under Pat Shurmur, what is our identity? We don't have one.
Zero.
Nada. We don't have anything. Under Rich Scangarello, at least I knew what kind of offense that we're running. At least under Rich Scangarello, I knew the identity. We were a play-action zone running scheme. We were – yes. Go ahead. Sorry, I ranted.
Again, this gets into the pathetic state of the Denver Broncos. And I got to talk about this. It's going to get hated, thumbs down, because what it is I don't want to get into a little bit what people of other teams that chimed in or given me some feedback on this channel. They say this is a boring channel because they say you got it right. They said they get entertainment listening to Bronco channels in delusion. They said it's entertaining for them because they look at them as a joke, a complete joke. And why is that? Because I think they believe these fairy tales. This franchise has not been able to, this is where John Elway failed. This is where John Elway failed. As Manning's getting ready to leave, he failed in bringing in, dedicating to a system, number one. We'll say it's the Shanahan system. Whatever. Okay, maybe it's the three receiver system. Whatever. Commit to something, and then start building around that. Now you hit something on the head that nobody, and we're the only ones who will talk. This is why I love the thumbs downs. I love them because these people just want to hear a fairy tale. That's all they care about. They just want to hear they're one quarterback away. That's all. And I'm telling you, these same thumbs downers, the fan base is degraded too. Answer this question. Do you get the sense that both Dove Valley and this Kool-Aid drinking fan base, not saying everybody's a Kool-Aid drinker, I'm just saying those that are, they're looking for 9 wins. They're looking for that 9 wins so they think that Aaron Rodgers, it's written in stone. He's going to be here.
I think that, thank you for bringing up this because I wasn't thinking about that. You bring up a perfect example, and I'm going to give you a perfect example of this, is that look at the commenters that we have in this on our channel in the last 2 episodes. Those are, and not all of them, but a majority of them. A majority of them believe that we're Tampa Bay 9-7, Aaron Rodgers away. That is what Dove Valley is feeding you from STR, from all these other feel-good platforms. The feel-good drinkers are also accelerating the push for Aaron Rodgers in this 9-7, 9-8 Tampa Bay model, which we went 5-11 last year with 90% of the players still on this roster. So I don't know where everybody's getting this propaganda, but like you said, it's hopium. They want to feel good. Tell me more about Aaron Rodgers. Tell me more about Tampa Bay. So, yes, I think you bring up a perfect example about that.
So, but you brought something up that needs to be discussed that nobody will discuss is the fact of Vic Fangio's player personnel, the difference when he was in Chicago. We keep bringing this up. Man, they want to avoid this like the plague. You look at they're diametrically different in structure by player personnel. Now, this kind of segues me into Wade Phillips. I said, I got thinking, look at Wade Phillips' defense that John Elway wanted nothing to do with. Kick him out of town. Get rid of him as fast as you can. In 2013 and 14, when they hired Wade Phillips, not Vance Joseph, mind you, that was Pat Bowen putting the leash on John Elway, telling him, no, you're not. Yeah, accountability. Wade Phillips, not Vance Joseph, who actually is being more like Wade Phillips than John Elway right now in Arizona. But with that said, look at what Wade Phillips put together player personnel-wise. And this goes into Von Miller. I'm telling you, no matter what Von Miller does, it's not going to be good enough. I'm telling you that. They'll be ready to get rid of him at the end of the season. You mark my word. Von Miller, after the 2015 season, was thanking both the interior linemen, Malik Jackson and Derek Wolfe in particular. By name, he named them as a part of his success. He named them. And they refused to look at that. When you look at Wade Phillips' defense, the way it was structured, does it not look more like Tampa?
Yes, it does.
The current defensive model.
Now, I think it's a mixture of Wade Phillips and Vic Fangio, in my personal opinion. There have been few instances, I'd probably say roughly 2 or 3 where I've actually went back and watched the film on Tampa Bay in the Super Bowl. I'm just going to bring up an example. I'm not going to talk about the whole season. I'm just going to bring up the Super Bowl in general. I think that was the closest thing you're going to see from the 2015 Denver Broncos that you're going to get, because they were able to put pressure on Patrick Mahomes like the Broncos were able to do in Super Bowl 50 against Cam Newton. Mind you, the offensive line for the Chiefs wasn't that great, but the way they were scheming and the way they were able to get pressure, it wasn't even. And people like to, people. I've talked to people about this outside of this channel about how it wasn't the fact that they were able to be like, okay, well, my guy's going to beat your guy. No, they were scheming up different pressures that whole game to confuse the first read from Patrick Mahomes in that game. Because we've said it many times on this channel, and we have it in the video archives, is how Patrick Mahomes loves his first read. And if you take away that first read for any quarterback, mind you, any quarterback, if you completely neutralize the middle of the field, it is going to make a quarterback go through his progressions more than a quarterback would like
if
to.
he has time, if he has that time to do that.
That's what I'm saying, and that's what I've been trying to get it towards a certain audience here, is that it wasn't that they were able to be like, okay, Vita Vea, you're gonna go one-on-one against the defensive tackle or the center. My apologies. No, we're gonna move you around the defensive line. We're gonna use our linebackers in a way that nobody has seen before. We're going to use these corners in a way. We're going to use these safeties. We're going to use these edge players, a Shaq Barrett, a Jason Pierre-Paul, all these other players, a Willie Golston or whatever. You're going to see we're going to move these guys around, and that was the brilliance. And this is directly correlates to your question. It was Wade Phillips ahead of his time, yes, because Wade Phillips was doing the exact same thing in 2015. He was disguising coverages. He had the defensive line up the middle that was able to provide pressure. And we bring this up too. Bill Belichick literally said in the AFC Champion game, that was one of the best defensive performances I've ever seen. How they were able to neutralize Tom Brady in the AFC Championship game in 2015. He said it in his press conference. You can go back and look it up. That was one of the best defensive performances I've ever gone against. And that's coming from Bill Belichick.
Yeah, yes. So why? Why was the Tampa Bay Buccaneers able to do that? Why was the Denver Broncos? It comes down to player personnel. If you don't have the player personnel, if you're just hard on the edges and soft in the middle, you'll never be able to scheme. You'll never be able to scheme. But take a look at, Sports Talk Radio was going on and on about how Kansas City's offensive line was the culprit as far, and it wasn't so much the Tampa Bay's front. Well, let me ask you this: did any of you watch the Denver Broncos play Tampa Bay that year? They made quick work of Denver's offensive line. They shredded it. They shredded that. Their D line against our O line. Yep. And we haven't seen. Massey, is he going to be able to last? Highly unlikely. And already we saw the injury bugs were already coming in the day one. So I don't see, I just don't see that that's, playing, again, moderate teams, fine. But once you start playing the
Ravens.
Yeah, you play teams that are an upgrade. I think maybe even the Washington Redskins or Washington football team has come up, and they're up and coming on their D line.
Yes. Well, let me just say this. When it comes to doing film, me and you have talked about this. I base a lot of my work and a lot of my criticism on film. You don't know what you're seeing.
You don't know what you're seeing.
I don't know what I'm talking about when it comes to film, But when when it comes to this Denver Broncos team, and we're just a quarterback away, there have been article after article. Now it's starting to come out, and now people are starting to run away. Where Peyton Manning's even saying himself that he doesn't see Aaron Rodgers coming here.
No, well, look, I want to talk about that just for a second.
Go ahead.
And this goes back to the narrative that Elway's not meddling. I think Mark Schlereth, you had an article where he's calling Elway out. I think what happened is Mark Schlereth was hung out by John Elway on this whole Aaron Rodgers thing. I think that was the source. That was Mark Schlereth's golden. It's this. You would just, if you knew this, you would know this source. Remember, he kept saying that's that source, right? I'm convinced that source was John Elway, feeding him all his garbage. Because I think Elway is so desperate to get Aaron Rodgers. And here's the thing. Sports Talk Radio was downplaying Aaron Rodgers' comment to Mark Schlereth, like, where are you getting this information? And then they don't want to say the second part. They avoid the second part. They always say, oh, yeah, the second part was, when I go somewhere, I'll be the first to let you know, because I don't know what you're talking about. So if Aaron Rodgers was having conversations with John Elway, obviously this probably pissed off Rodgers as well, that he's leaking out all this stuff, and that probably, like, I'm not going to go work while you're here, because God knows if you couldn't keep this quiet or whatever, maybe I was talking to you, but, now because this whole thing is completely blown up. Dumb Denver Bronco fan who's just a Kool-Aid drinker doesn't know that maybe Aaron Rodgers is talking to a number of teams. Maybe he's talking to the Irsay with the Colts. Maybe that's a really good. He goes somewhere where nobody, if he even goes. I mean, in my opinion, wasn't I the first to say it? Then Peyton Manning comes out that didn't make any sense to sit out. Didn't even make sense. Retire if that's what you're going to do.
Wasn't I the first person on draft night saying that whole source thing was bullshit?
Yes, and I didn't know, and I should have caught it, because what was the key giveaway? Oh, we're dealing with Aaron Rodgers. Well, wait a minute. You have to be dealing with because I didn't know Aaron Rodgers' contract situation. Because I focus on the Broncos. I don't focus on Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay.
Yeah.
But you can't just sit there and say we're dealing with Aaron Rodgers. You have to be dealing with Green Bay. That's the bottom line. But you said it right off the bat.
He's not. Yeah, I said right off the bat that this guy's not coming to Denver. I'm telling you, he's not coming here. And now you have Peyton Manning coming out saying the exact same thing we're saying. He is not.
And what are all these other channels doing?
Talking about Aaron Rodgers 4 out of the 5 days of the week because of the hopium.
Give me some more.
And look, mind you, they're like I said, how we've told these commenters, go start your own channel. No disrespect, you will get a lot of views. You'll get 4.2K views if you talk about Aaron Rodgers. If you talk about Aaron Rodgers, you're gonna get a lot of subscribers because it's quarterback, it's that hopium. I want Deshaun Watson. I want Aaron Rodgers. I just want that quarterback because we're just one quarterback away.
I'll tell you what I want as a fan. This is okay, thumbs down me because I'm thumbs down me. I want accountability. I want ownership, good ownership. I don't want Snyder's. I don't want Jerry Jones. I don't want the guy from Amazon. The Broncos is just a stepping stone to the league. Which basically is like Al Davis. Maybe without the meddling, but I want accountability at ownership. I want the Broncos to dedicate into a program and a system that develops players. To me, it is greatly embarrassing that we're sitting here begging for Aaron Rodgers. To me, that is totally embarrassing. It's embarrassing as an organization. We should be developing players. We can get a Lamar Jackson, for instance, to come in. We can get an Allen to come in. We can get a Herbert, who, in my opinion, is totally overrated.
Oh, I totally agree.
But at least if they stick with him, maybe they can develop him. Though, yeah, what happened? We got rid of the system we brought Locke in, so now it's open season on Locke. Let's just say ridiculous criticisms. I showed a video with Kurt Warner, which was partly correct, is what I saw in college. But we have to start being able to be a good enough organization to take players that have some problems like this and develop them. I think what it would have made Kurt Warner's tape a little. And by the way, he said exactly what I said about those plays where the free runner came in and to the blind side that Fant was. And again, if you look at that. Fant was the guy that should have got the ball, but what does Shermer do? He sends him completely into no man's land, taking him out of the play. It's just like I said. Just the accountability alone is bad, and the embarrassment that you have to beg for a Deshaun Watson, which I don't see where that's going to help at all. And then Aaron Rodgers, you just it's embarrassing that we can't be a program we used to be. What we used to be with Pat Bowlen. I just
And here's the disconnect too that I have come to realize, and it's not like I said. I'm not up here saying it's all of Broncos country, but there is 90%, 85, 80% of the majority out there that's the problem here. The problem is that like I said, I have lived this over before. We're just like the Cleveland Browns. We have to beg for a quarterback. This is the exact same thing that the Browns were doing, that the Jaguars are still doing with now they got Trevor Lawrence, that the Bears have been doing. I'm happy for the Bears though. I really am happy for the Bears. But like we've said over and over again, I cannot believe people actually believe that this is Tampa Bay. And that right there blows the mind for the intelligent Bronco fans like me and you and other people out there. That's a slap in the face to me and the slap in the face to you, because we dedicate a lot of our time, because we are a GM sector channel. We dedicate a lot of our time to actually providing you film. We dedicate a lot of our time of actually bringing you players that can actually make a difference on this team. Yet you guys want just that hopium. You guys want those receivers. You guys want that quarterback. You guys are begging for that quarterback. Let me tell you one more time. I'm not up here blowing flowers up your ass. I'm going to tell you like it is. Aaron Rodgers and Deshaun Watson are not coming to Denver. You guys can hope that you guys can get Madden 21 or Madden 22, the new one, and go out and be your own GM and get Aaron Rodgers and Deshaun Watson for whatever, for peanuts. If that's what you want to do, go get Madden and trade for Deshaun Watson and Aaron Rodgers. This is the real world, okay? We're not in the video game centric world. This is the GM world. Yes. Is it going to be slow to build a system? Yes. But you will reap the rewards when it starts paying off. That's why we won Super Bowls under Pat Bowlen, because he wanted to be the best. He stuck to a system. He held people accountable. He had guys like Adam Peters in his building. He had guys like Alex Gibbs. My thoughts and prayers go out to Alex Gibbs.
John Beek.
Yeah, John Beek. My thoughts and prayers go out to Alex Gibbs, former offensive line coach, died. One of the best offensive line coaches to ever do it.
Well, it wasn't Shanahan. It was Alex Gibbs. There was a lot of talk about Shanahan on Sports Talk Radio, and and it's just like Elway, the completely ignoring everybody else around Shanahan. Alex Gibbs being primary, because Alex Gibbs himself had just pulling his hair out with Mike Shanahan having to put a leash on him. I said back after the AFC loss with Pittsburgh when Jake Plummer was in, that's where Shanahan should have got fired, because he had one of the best running games out there. And Alex Gibbs told him, you gotta not get pass happy in this game. And that's the first thing he did, is just got pass happy. And he basically put in the same game plan that what Manning couldn't do. He was trying to ask Plummer to do what Manning couldn't do. And instead of being the Denver Broncos, where we're run heavy and we'll do play action, he just completely, that right there is where it should have fired him. He should have known better than that. Going through all those defensive coordinators. Yeah, and Alex Gibbs saying that on the Super Bowl runs, he had to continually put a leash on Elway, or on Shanahan constantly.
And I think you bring up a great point, and this correlates to Elway. Elway should have been fired after the 2015 Super Bowl. He should have been gone, because what he did to Elway towards the end, or what he did to Peyton Manning towards the end of his career. Making him do a system where it was the Gary Kubiak system, where Peyton Manning thrived in his own system, and you're going to bring in Gary Kubiak. I love Gary Kubiak. I think he's one of the best offensive coordinators of this generation. I think that he was one of the best, what he was able to do in Houston. But you're going to bring him in for a guy in Peyton Manning who was more of the 3 wide receiver sets.
That's what I'm saying. He doesn't get systems. He doesn't get systems. He just doesn't. And maybe this is a flaw of the Denver Broncos going all the way back to Dan Reeves. Because one of Dan Reeves, in my opinion, his flaws, you take a look at Landry. He came from the Landry tree, Tom Landry. And while Reeves was implementing some of that, the player personnel was like night and day. I mean, he just didn't. When Dan Reeves came here, he said, "Well, what do you think?" He was asked, "What do you think? We got the Orange Crush defense." He said, "Well, now we got Elway. We don't care about the defense so much anymore." Literally said that, and that was again one of his problems. Obviously, in the Super Bowls, the blowouts and stuff like this. And mind you, they had some good defensive players that were carried over from that those Orange Crush days. I mean, Carl Recklenberg has got to be one of the best linebackers to play the game, but
He should be in the
Hall of Fame. So it's not like he didn't have nobody, but to come out with a statement like that, where Reeves comes from a system of Too Tall Jones, on the offense, or was that defensive line or offensive? Too Tall Jones. These larger linemen, never, always undersized.
But you know what? This correlates to accountability. At least we had Pat Bowlen, who actually held these guys accountable.
Yeah.
Finally Mike Shanahan for however long how long he should have been fired. He finally got rid of Mike Shanahan.
Yeah, everybody couldn't believe it. Bowlen listened to what I was saying since the end of that championship game. He finally got rid of him. It was time to get rid of him. And that's what an owner that holds holds staff accountable does. Now,
I just want to say this. I don't think Mike Shanahan's a terrible coach. I think he's a great offensive mind. I actually want to put that out there. I'm not bashing Mike Shanahan. I love Mike Shanahan. I love his son Kyle Shanahan, what he's doing in San Francisco, their moves there, like giving Jimmy Garoppolo all that money. Yes, there's some moves that I question about, but at least that they have a culture in place and that they have stability in that organization and they know what they're doing. That's why Shanahan didn't want to come here.
Yeah, no, not with Elway. There's no way. Oh, no, Elway didn't want him. I don't think so. Elway wanted him so bad that he brought in Rich Scangarello.
Yeah, he had to. No, remember, he had to beg for Rich Scangarello. This wasn't a thing where Rich Scangarello was in the open market. Remember that? They didn't even have an offensive coordinator until after the training camp. They had to beg for Rich Scangarello.
And what did Kyle Shanahan say to Scangarello when it was all said and done?
Good luck.
No, after it was all said and done. Didn't I tell you? So you really think you're going to get Aaron Rodgers here with that guy up at the top? The meddling and the Al Davis 2.0. I don't know what world these people live in. I just don't.
They live, like you said, they live in a bubble. They live in a bubble, and all they can hear is Aaron Rodgers. They're like they're mind tricked. They're like, Aaron Rodgers. So that's all they want to talk about. That's all that they hope for. Teddy Bridgewater is the stable Teddy, like they said. Now that they're doing with Teddy, Teddy is a stable quarterback. Teddy is this conservative quarterback. We are the first channel to say we're going to go conservative.
Well, wait a second. In all honesty, are they not also cutting the legs off of Bridgewater too with all this bullshit?
They're using him as a double-edged sword. That's what they're doing. And I knew that was going to happen with Bridgewater. I was the first person saying that they're going to bring in Bridgewater and that they're going to also hype him up, yet they're going to put him on a leash. Like they did with Flacco, like they did with Case Keenum, and this could probably lead us into the Case Keenum talk.
Oh yeah, you did a video with a Minnesota Vikings fan. We wanted to get, and I've got the interview. Well, I'm thinking about putting it on as we get closer to our first game of the season with the Minnesota Vikings. He talks about, uh, I was going to say Pat Shermer. He was going to talk about Peyton, George Peyton, and what his take of George Peyton was, and what surprised you.
Well, he was a yes man in Minnesota. He's a yes man here in Denver. What a
Well,
shock!
that in Minnesota it was understandable because you're an assistant.
Yeah, you're an assistant, but he's a GM here in Denver, but he's still a yes man. You brought up the article; he's handcuffed.
Well, and all this is now coming out that that Elway, it's not quite as non-meddling as even those that were promoting that. You know, it really isn't what they said it was, right? So
I sent you articles last night where there's this article from the Denver Post where it's saying that I think it was Peyton and Vic have to answer to Elway. Like this stuff isn't even hard to look up. You just look up John Elway and look up news, and there's a bunch of articles about him. It's not that hard. Yeah, they don't care. But yeah, like I said, George Payton was a yes man in Minnesota, and George Payton is a yes man here. Are we all shocked? Are we all shocked? Honestly, can I ask you this? Are me and you shocked about this though?
well, we aren't, but according to the bubble, Elway doesn't exist. He does. He's playing golf in California.
Playing golf in California, yet his title says President of Football Operations.
And he's in the golf.
It says right there.
And he says they're reporting to me. Well, that's why. Why did George Payton come out right after Surtain pick? What was said by George Payton? Mike Liss of the Denver Post. What was the first thing that was said right after the?
Elway loved this guy. It's his pick. Elway loved this guy. It's his pick.
It's his pick. That's the takeaway. It's his pick. It's his pick. This whole what did the guy on Sports Talk Radio said? This has not changed with Peyton. Yes. This has not changed. It's the same Elway model. It's the same Elway model that he created once he got rid of Wade Phillips defensively. Since we're talking about Surtain. So, yes, nothing new under the sun for us. But if you want...
For Dan Jacobs, no wonder they moved him to Saturdays and Sundays.
Well, I think he was pretty much always there.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying. That's why nobody likes to hear that stuff on the weekends. During the week, Cecil Lammy, yeah. Give me that.
Oakley, dokely, stokely. Let's give you another. It's Feel Good Friday. We're going to talk about Aaron Rodgers.
Zach, bye. Honk, honk.
Honk, honk. Yeah, big hair, big nose. Yeah, so everybody, they've even looped in people in the outside of the Broncos circle into the stupid one quarterback away nonsense. Well, you're close. You're just one quarterback away.
I bet a majority of those people are ESPN narrative people. I guarantee you.
Yeah, I'm sure they're just putting out
getting paid, getting a handsome paycheck to get interviewed by Sports Talk Radio from the radio station. I guarantee you that's what's happening.
The funny thing is talking to people who are fans of other teams, they just get a laugh out of this whole Aaron Rodgers thing. To them, they're not seeing Aaron Rodgers coming here. It's just the whole organization is a laugh to them. They and one can't. I got relatives who live in Kansas City. They get particular pleasure out of the fact John Elway's completely ruined this team. That totally gives them. They can't believe how screwed up that he's made this team, but that gives them pleasure.
I don't blame them. I believe the Raiders are doing the same thing. Oh, they become us now. Yes.
Well, they're as delusional too that Al Davis didn't.
the Raiders probably sitting there like, oh, they're us now. Let's do it.
Well, they're us in the '90s. I mean, when Al Davis was.
Even now, we're the Raiders now.
No, yeah, basically, yeah, we're exactly. I mean, and it's true. I mean, the Raiders you can't point the finger at us and say dysfunctional when you're the very definition of dysfunctional.
Same with the Jaguars. Same with the Jets. Now, let me mind you, I think the Jets are on a right track. I love Robert Saleh and what he's going to be implementing in terms of finally a schematic scheme that actually works and that they're going to stick with. And say, you know what? And here's another thing. You know what? A lot of people are going to hate me for this take, but I think the Lions are going to be. I love what the Lions have done this offseason. I love their coach. A lot of people think he's an idiot. I love Dan Campbell. I think that what they're going to be doing in Detroit, this is off topic, but they literally what they did in this draft, the first 3 rounds, what they do, left tackle and 2 defensive tackles.
Imagine that.
Imagine they actually have the freedom to go do that. Could you imagine if we did that as an organization? Oh my gosh, people would be so bored. People would be bored. Me and you would be like, we'd be the cheerleaders. Oh, left tackle, defensive tackle, defensive tackle. We'd be the cheerleaders because that's how you build a team.
Well, I'll tell you one thing that's interesting is there's a lot of people that are high on this running back. I said they were saying the commenter put in well, Tristan Wirfs went 2 slots over, and I'm like, and we couldn't have went up to get him.
Yeah, the Bucs actually traded up 1 spot to get him. Did you talk about that?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. It's easy to just point to a stat, okay, without deep diving into it, right?
Yeah.
No, this team will not go up to get linemen at all. Just no, can't do it. But we see what he brought to the Super Bowl.
It's offensive line.
It's boring until your quarterback is protected and throwing darts all over the place.
And when you're actually going to Super Bowls and going deep in the playoffs, you're not 9-8 and losing in the first round.
Yeah, because when you hit the offensive and defensive lines that from these teams that built those.
Yeah,
you could go back to Tom Landry.
Yeah, once you go against the big dogs like the Bills, Colts, Ravens, Chiefs, Steelers to a degree, you're going to get eaten alive, and we saw that this past season.
Well, it's because you don't have Tom Brady. You don't have Tom Brady. You don't have Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers, yeah.
And can I ask you this? Why are people so high on this running back out of North Carolina when a guy, he looks just like Royce Freeman and Monte Ball coming out?
I hope you're wrong, but
There was a feel-good station out there that I sent you the link to, and you could, if you need to post it, but they literally said that Michael Carter was a better running back than Javonte Williams. He is better for the NFL.
Well, he's more of an NFL product because he's got the pocket pay, or he's got the
Philip Lindsay patience and running. He has the eye discipline. Javonte Williams just runs into his blockers. Oh, who does that remind you of? Melvin Gordon.
Oh God!
Javonte Williams is not. He is a Royce Freeman 2.0. He's a Royce Freeman 2.0. I said coming out that, remember that great draft class with Bradley Chubb and Cortland Sutton? Like I said, Javonte Williams is not, he's not even on the same level as a Michael Carter. Oh, by the way, he went to the Jets. So Jets actually are starting to get a clue. You could hate the Zach Wilson pick, but right after that, they went Elijah Vera-Tucker, who I was a fan of, offensive lineman. They got Sheldon Rankins. They actually have a clue, too, what they're doing over in New York.
They're starting to show, they're looking around the league and seeing what's going on. And both the teams that are pretenders and the organizations that are contenders, that's what they're looking at.
I'd say that we're one of the most overrated teams in the National Football League. I remember you sent me an article about that.
Yeah, but when you read it all... Well, it's 100% true, but it all, from their point of view, came down to, well, you don't have Aaron Rodgers, and it's like they don't have a lot of things, and that's part of it. It's a shell. The team is a shell, like an egg.
Yeah. We're doing these campaign promises, drain the swamp, all this bullshit about how I sent you a deep dive video of this YouTuber saying that, this offensive line is going to be great. Bobby Massey is going to be solid. Did you watch him over the past 2 years? He was injured.
These people say the same garbage all the time, but well, wait a minute. They get the 4.K views because that's the garbage people want to hear. It's hopium.
We just had Aaron Rodgers, man. Yeah. This is a perfect example. And like I said, you were talking to your fans how this channel's boring. Yeah, because every time we put out film breakdowns, they get 200 views.
No, that's not why they said it's boring. They said it's boring because they said you're right what you're talking about. You're the only you're the only Bronco fans that got it right. You go, we get entertained by listening to these idiots talk all this nonsense, and we know it's not going to happen. We're saying the same thing you're saying. We see the same thing you're saying, but that's boring. We already know that. Your fan base doesn't know that.
Exactly. What me and you say is above their pay grade.
It's above their pay grade.
Told me this many times. When you say that if we had a linebacking core like Zayvon Collins and Devin Bush, could you imagine if we had Sheldon Rankins and Jordan Phillips on our D line with Von Miller and Bradley Chubb? Could you imagine?
That thought is above their pay grade. Well, this is what Vic Fangio did in Chicago. He's handcuffed. I mean, it's not just Peyton that's handcuffed. Vic Fangio's handcuffed as well.
Mike Munchak's handcuffed too. I believe he's handcuffed.
Yeah, because he would probably go out and get your offensive lineman as #1 pick.
Well, although I love the Quinn Miners pick, but that's just another subject for another day. But yeah, all these, Vance Joseph was obviously handcuffed. Look what he's doing in freaking Arizona, of all places.
Yeah,
that was clearly handcuffed.
Yeah.
Good Lord.
Well, this all comes back to what Aaron Rodgers knows, what Manning knows, what Mark Schlereth knows about the guy at the top.
And like I said, the player personnel difference in Chicago. I can't believe people are actually saying that Justin Simmons is better than Adrian Amos and Eddie Jackson. I cannot believe people are saying this.
Well, you know why? Because they can point to, look how much he's getting paid. But you break down I'm going to tell you something about what Sports Talk Radio is talking about. You're going to love this. What's the All-22? So people are saying something about the All-22. Oh, the All-22. You think you know what you're looking at. You don't know what you're looking at. Well, okay, let's take a look at this. Am I a bit smarter for looking at the film than not looking at the film? Oh, I don't know what I'm looking at. I don't want to look at the film. Oh, I just don't know what I'm looking at. Well, you don't know how the play was designed. I'll tell you one thing I do know when I look at the film. I do know what should have happened. I know what shouldn't have happened. I know when Reisner gets totally put out of position at the very snap of the ball, which never should have happened, and Bull's player gets around him at breakneck speed and breaks the, was it the hand or whatever it was of Drew Lock, who never had a prayer in the world. That was the Pittsburgh Steelers defense dismantling this great offense. So I know what wasn't supposed to happen. Am I better off not to look at the film than to look at it? That's my question.
I think you're better off looking at the film because what you're doing is you're providing no bullshit. And this is what your channel's based around. Your channel's based around no bullshit. And you're providing the film. Are those other platforms providing film except for the highlight reel guy?
Yeah, who refuses to go beyond highlight reels.
Yes, and I just want to say this. When you're smarter looking at the film, okay? You're smarter because I can tell you this. What you have said and what you've done is you're making these guys literally, that's not what you're trying to do. You're trying to provide, GM-centric stuff. But what you're doing is you're probably going to make these guys forced to watch the film. They don't want to because, Dove Valley pays our bills, just like that. So, like I said, when I watch the film, that game preferably.
That would be the first Raiders
No, the Pittsburgh game. I'm going to talk about
Oh,
that
the
real.
Pittsburgh. Okay, the
You
Pittsburgh.
brought very important. Watch that offensive line. Right when the ball snapped, they moved to the right. They moved to the right. They all switched their foot positions and their technique to the right hand side, and that's when the guy from Garrett Bowles got destroyed, and that's when Elijah Wilkinson got destroyed. What is Drew Lock supposed to do in that situation when you have Lloyd Cushenberry getting pushed back to it, Will, from Gordon Hayward and Stephon Tuitt?
No, we can't talk about that. Don't look at that film. You didn't know what you were looking at. You don't know how the play was supposed to be designed. You don't know that. Well, I do know. I do know a breakdown when I see a breakdown.
Oh, yeah, exactly. You see a breakdown on this defense when they're constantly getting destroyed in the middle of the field and getting beat over the top on Justin Simmons' side of the field. Yeah. Don't sleep. Yep. Justin Simmons, man, this top safety. I'm telling you, you guys are going to regret giving him top money.
Number one.
Yeah, you guys are going to regret giving him top money.
So says the Oracle.
We're going to play Patrick Surtain in the slot, who has stiff hips. Who has stiff hips. Wait for that time when that happens. That's funny. The player personnel in Chicago is light years ahead of the player personnel on the defense side of the ball that we have in Denver.
Stop. Timeout. Stop. Timeout. I want to talk about the Bears real quick. I watched because I provided film of the Bears because we put out the question: was Vic Fangio is Vic Fangio allowed to bring in the same player personnel? Now, I showed them playing Tampa. Brady looked exactly like Mahomes. Not quite as bad, but looked, and he lost the game. Why? Because of the push up the middle and the linebacking player personnel taking those first reads away. It looked like the Super Bowl all over again, but this time it was the Chicago defense that was a Vic Fangio molded defense, player personnel wise. Okay? Something, again, it's not a hard on the edges, soft in the middle with overpaid safeties.
And overpaid corners.
Overpaid corners.
90s corners.
Well, even though Fuller is one, but
yeah, but Fuller's he's over 30, and he's past his prime.
Yeah, no, I know.
He's a name, remember?
Yeah.
Exactly. What did we see this offseason?
Ahoy!
We're gonna go after Ronald Darby. I was surprised that they got Ronald Darby, but they gave him $10 million a year for 3 years. Then you go out and get Kyle Fuller, a name. Oh, that's a Vic Fangio pickup. Okay, really? Then why in the hell did Vic Fangio never trade for Kyle Fuller when he was in Denver? Please answer me that question.
Yeah, not Elway. Wasn't Elway.
It was all Elway. It was all that money allocated to the cornerback room. And we should have saw this coming, how they were talking corner this whole offseason. I should have knew that they're going to take a corner with that 9th pick. I honestly to God, if Trey Lance fell, they were going to take him.
No, they probably would have took Trey Lance. Because what had happened was once they found out that San Francisco was going to go for Trey Lance, they went after the Detroit Lions cast off their Stafford. They were hard on trying to get him, and you know what? Look at all the thumbs downs I got by saying Stafford has no interest in the Broncos. Did your thumbs down bring Stafford to the Broncos? Did that help? No. So maybe you ought to stop listening to the Oracle. Oakley, dokely, stokely. Go out get. Oh, make it happen. Wow. It's not going to happen.
Well, like you said, you remember when they were saying that he was a shoe-in for the Broncos? Remember that?
Oh, yeah. We didn't say that. Oh, wait a minute. Show your film. Yeah, you did. Oh, I want to talk about our last two videos. first one was we were talking about the reasons why Shermer was brought here. That was the first one. It had to do. It was called the Law Conspiracy. Shermer Conspiracy. Okay. So you bring those points up. It was the 20 plus yards, go vertical. Okay. You bring that up to the people that were promoting it. Well, we didn't. No. That's not what it is. We didn't ever say that. And that's what I'm saying. When I say they say they didn't say that, is by saying that's not what it is. Well, you were promoting that. Oh, no. Roll the film. And that one, surprisingly, didn't get many thumbs downs, to my surprise. And it was called Lies, Damn Lies. So we don't roll out of bed with this stuff, and again, that's why we're looking at, what's that? Huh? Oh, all 22? Well, I don't know what that is. What is that? That's what they were saying. Just people watching, they don't know what they're seeing. Okay, well, I encourage everybody to watch go buy the all 22. It's $50. Go buy the all 22. Sit and watch film yourself. And try to do it unbiasedly. Act like you're a Vikings fan or something, watching just some other team. Try to disconnect yourself and look at it from a coaching, perspective. Just that's all I got to say. So we're going to see if this running back can live up to the hype. We're going to see if Surtain can play the slot. I mean, it'd be great. I hope we're wrong. It'd be great if we're wrong. But I don't know.
But were those two really important needs for this team?
No, of course not.
You pass up on Rashawn Slater. Oh, remember you remember that all I was saying that everybody's saying I was talking about Justin Fields. Yeah, I have video out there saying that I'm promoting Rashawn Slater. Okay.
No, I'm the one that said the Broncos were interested in Fields.
Well, remember? Well, in the comments, everybody's saying that we both said it, and it's total bullshit. I never said that I wanted Justin Fields or Trey Lance.
Well, I never wanted him. I'm just saying what I thought the Broncos wanted.
I wanted Rashawn Slater. I wanted Zaven Collins. I wanted
Zaven Collins.
Yeah, you wanted Zaven Collins. I wanted Jamie Davis.
Yeah.
See him, he went in the first round. Everybody was so shocked with that pick.
I know. If Broncos would have done it, their head, if they would got Zaven Collins, their head would have not Zaven. Zaven Collins. Yeah, who was the other linebacker that was out there that kept talking?
Micah Parsons.
Yeah, no, forget that one. You'd want Zaven Collins. He's the
or Jamie Davis.
Yeah. You know what? I'd like to do a college breakdown if I knew people out. That's why I wish we had people that were less into the hype and more into the film. I would love to find somebody who's really a film junkie and likes to go look at college. I'd like to see if there's any linebacker corner hybrids out there. That's something that really is an interest to me. Is
draft?
What's that?
In this upcoming draft?
Well, I guess so. In general, just are we going to see something in the future more like a linebacker corner hybrid?
You're going to see guys like Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah who went to the Browns, and you're going to see guys like Isaiah Simmons. You're going to see guys like a Derwin James from the Chargers, who's more of a safety but can play in the box. You're going to see more guys like T.J. Ward, who's a safety / linebacker who can play in the box. You're going to see guys like Cam Chancellor, C. Chickens, who was able to play in the box back in the Legion of Boom days. So you're starting to see it. The Browns are starting to get a clue. Even when what's his face, Vic Fangio was in Chicago, you saw Eddie Jackson play a lot of in the box. He liked to move him around. Vic Fangio has been using this concept for actually a while now. When he was in San Francisco, he had a guy like Antoine Bethea.
He's trying to get that out of Simmons and Jackson, but
it's just have the speed and Kareem Jackson, and then both get beat over the top
constantly. They don't provide any help over the top. Did you watch how they Tampa used their safeties in that Super Bowl?
Yeah, I saw how they used their safeties. It was just like what Vic Fangio did in Chicago. It was just like Brandon Staley was doing in L.A. this past year.
I mean, they're
Safety looks.
what one thing that Fangio did not allow was to be burned over. Let his safeties. Well, he didn't. He assisted the corners. He didn't allow corners to get burned over the top. He provided the over-the-top assistance that a safety is supposed to do on those go routes.
Okay, are you talking about when he was in Chicago or
Chicago?
Okay, because in Denver, it's totally been complete opposite of what's going on.
Yes, when he was in Chicago, and they're going in and phasing in and out. That's the interesting thing when you look at Chicago. What their safeties were doing, they're phasing in and out. Am I going to be in the linebacking area? No, I'm going to, So if any time you get a breakaway, and the guys, it's a bombs away kind of thing, and it's go route, they'll come back. They'll assist, and I've noticed that for most teams. But when you have the player personnel that can do both, you can get speed over the top, and you can get that hybrid linebacking kind of play. Coverage linebacking play. To me, those are also players. Maybe you're right. Maybe it's a safety more so than a corner that will be a part of that. Unless it's a slot corner or corner that's taking care of the slot, he may be more like the new hybrid safety linebacker.
Yeah, and I think you bring up a great point. In Chicago, they'd have their corners, they had the two high safety looks. And what they would do is they'd rotate them. They rotate them. They rotate them. They were confusing the quarterback. That's what I love about Vic Fangio. He confuses his coverages. I love that about Vic Fangio. But in Denver, we're seeing a complete opposite of what you saw in Chicago. Why? Because he doesn't have Eddie Jackson and Adrian Amos back there. He doesn't have that here in Denver.
They're just painting him as if they are them.
Well, give me a break. They're not Adrian Amos and Eddie Jackson.
No.
So I'm saying, but and he also had, mind you, he also had the linebackers in the middle to help out those guys that can play off coverage. And what I mean by that is when he was playing the two high safety looks, he was able to let his safeties roam and be free in Chicago. In Chicago, because he had the front seven and he had the two middle linebackers that can cover. In Denver, what are you seeing? You're seeing Justin Simmons come into the box. You're seeing Kareem Jackson come into the box to cover these slot receivers, these tight ends, because they don't have the middle linebackers to cover those type of players.
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm planning on going to the practice mini camp. I don't really know what I'm going to get out of that. The only thing that I could say maybe is who's getting the reps, Locke versus Bridgewater. I'm assuming it's going to be Bridgewater with the majority of first string reps.
So probably see about another suggestion if you wanted to about who's going to be starting. Is it Lloyd or is it going to be Quint Miners? Who's getting the looks there at center? Is Miners getting the looks or is Cushenberry getting the looks?
Well, I would say Cushenberry. I'm just saying that I'll look, but I would say Cushenberry will probably be. They'll probably have to work. Well, we got to find out where Miners.
He's a center.
Yeah, I know. What I'm saying is that if somebody else goes out, could they possibly put him? I just want to see if they may try to plug him into different places.
Well, I agree with you, but they also have Natane Moody, who no one's talking about.
Yeah, he's a ghost. I mean, he's more of a ghost than Elway.
Yeah, exactly. He was a guy that was very impressive when he started over Grant Glasgow.
Elway, that's an Elway guy right there. Glasgow.
I forgot we're paying Grant Glasgow a lot of money at the guard position, so I can't talk about Natane Moody.
He's the Justin Simmons on our offensive line.
Exactly. No, that's Garrett Bowles now.
Well, Bowles can actually hold his own a bit more than I think Justin Simmons.
After 3 years of being babied?
At the expense of the whole offensive line.
The expense could have got Ryan Ramczyk in that draft. Just saying.
Elway like Bowles.
Exactly.
Ahoy.
Chips ahoy. This team,
He's an athlete. He's an
Yep.
athlete.
got camp coming up here soon. You know, I think it's like 36, 63 days till the start of the season. So, this is going to be another season where we're going to see just constantly getting beat in the middle of the field. A conservative offense under Teddy Bridgewater. What a shocker. Where'd that come from? Where did that come from? Where did that come from? Remember that?
It's going to be great. It's going to be great. It's what we needed.
9-7, and then we're going to go get Aaron Rodgers.
Then we're going to go get Aaron Rodgers. Yeah, the Oracle said so.
Yeah,
How dare you not? How dare you diss the Oracle? How dare you?
Yeah, I need to go start my own channel, Chicken Little.
I wish you would, just to prove our point. Look, I got 4K views for promoting Bridgewater nonstop until Bridgewater they get rid of him, and then the channel goes
again.
Yeah,
we've seen this movie before.
Oh, over and over and over again.
Remember 2017, that quarterback battle?
Quarterback.
Oh, Lord.
All right, I'll let you go.
All right, have a good one.